We're back. You're listening to Executive Leaders Radio. This is your host, Herb Cohen. We'd like to introduce Josh Hoffman, founder and CEO of Game Plan. Josh, what is Game Plan? What are you guys doing?
Game Plan is software that streamlines the group booking process for venues like restaurants, bowling alleys, and family entertainment centers.
So who's your customer and how do you make their lives easier?
So we sell to the venue, so we're streamlining the process. We're really making it easier for low touch and repeat customers. And then on the guest side, we kind of allow them to get through the process without having as much human interaction. So allowing them to put their credit card down to hold the space and then talk to the event coordinator.
Wow, so you're making it easy for customers to book spaces. How about that? Where you from originally?
Lafayette Hill, suburb outside Philadelphia.
And what was going on with you 8 to 14 years old?
I like to think I was pretty normal. Sports, if it was nice out, video games if it wasn't nice out.
What kind of sports? What was your favorite sport?
Probably baseball or wrestling.
What was your role on the baseball team?
Center fielder.
And what was the personality trait you brought to center fielder?
I had a good arm, and I liked running around, so...
How about the personality trait you brought?
To the team, probably more of the joker or the class clown.
And let's see here. Shannon?
Josh, tell us more about that. What do you mean class clown?
I don't like to take things too seriously. Also don't do well with authorities, so anytime I could alleviate not fun, then I do that.
And what does that have to do with you starting Game Plan?
I think it's just a general look at life of let's not take anything too seriously. I think a lot of people that want to get into entrepreneurship but don't put up too many red flags themselves and kind of stops there.
And Josh, in the green room you mentioned you have 2 friends that happen to become your partners. Tell us more about that.
Yes, so there was 3 total. One of them is one of my good friends from, I always say, Little League. I think he was much more, he's an accountant, he fit that, and I think he wanted to explore other things. And then my other 2, they actually started another similar company, and we kind of said, okay, let's join forces.
And how did you convince them to join your team at Game Plan?
It kind of was organically. It started as a loose idea, and then it's something that I wanted to do 4 years prior, so I kept egging them on until we kind of bit the bullet.
You kept on egging them on. That's the important point. Meredith, what are you thinking?
Josh, did you have any pets growing up?
I didn't ask for a dog every single year. Oh, wait, no, that's a lie. I had 2 little lizards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It sounds like you were pretty persistent on the dog situation.
Very.
What does that have to do with your personality and your business?
I think if you are trying to start a company, you have to be persistent. I think there are a lot of times that are going to get in the way, obviously hard times, and I think just having a blind look at it and just kind of going forward and not worrying about the consequences at the time, yet living with the consequences is kind of my approach towards that.
Peter?
Josh, you mentioned your grandparents. What influence did they have on your life?
Yeah, so my mom's parents went through the Holocaust. I think that's one of the biggest factors in my life. I think, again, just not taking things too seriously and making every situation very relative. I think, yes, it might be a bad situation. However, it can always be worse, and I think taking a look at that.
On the notion of taking it lightly, you also mentioned that school wasn't really getting you where you wanted to go. Where did you want to go?
To the top. I just wanted to be very successful on my own terms. My dad lost his job a couple years ago, and I think just having all of that control, not even control, just affecting your future more than someone else's. I never liked the idea of having a boss that at any point can fire you or do whatever they want. So I said, screw that, my turn.
Marita?
So your business facilitates entertainment and eases process. How is that tied to your grandparents?
I think I took that more from their entrepreneurial side. So I don't know if it relates as much, or I don't know how I should say it would relate to the Holocaust per se, but just seeing them start a business, and again, it was his business since I can remember. So he did very well, and our family did very well. So I think that
How young did you ever? What kind of did you ever go to your grandfather's business?
all the time,
How young were you when you started going to his business?
as young as I can remember.
What'd you do in his business?
Watch the trains go by. No, my mom did all the customer support and marketing and sales. So it was a lot of just sitting in her office and kind of seeing how she interacted with people.
How young were you when that was happening, and what was your how young? 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, something like that.
I started at 5, ended at 15, maybe.
You started at 5. Did you hate going there, or you looked forward to going there?
I liked the trains. That's what I remember the most.
So what'd you like about going there? What was the feeling you had when you went there?
I thought it was very cool to see my mom working, and then
What was cool about seeing your mom working? What are you talking about?
it was, and I was going to say, it was also working with her dad and my grandfather. So again, just to see the not only family dynamic, but also, again, being self-made and starting something and then running it for the rest of your life.
Sounds to me like it had a major influence on you.
Absolutely,
huh?
yeah.
So this you have 3 partners in the business, and you mentioned earlier that one of the reasons you wanted to talk about the Holocaust today is to preserve that memory. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. We were kind of talking a little bit about this, but I think my grandparents can't really talk about it anymore, and so my aunt, goes to these conferences and things like that. But I think now that every generation after that, it gets, we don't have our finger on it as much anymore, and I do try to get it out as much as possible.
Why is that?
I think it's a part of history that needs to be understood and learned.
You've got this loyalty thing going on with you, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So how young were you when you really learned how to trust people? Because if you have 3 partners, you got to come from trust as opposed to being separate.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I always said that I will trust you in the beginning, and then if you break that trust, that's when we have to talk. But it's worked out for me. I'm sure at some point it'll catch me, but.
So it sounds to me like you're willing to give somebody enough. You're willing to trust them and see what they do with the rope.
Yeah, I think a lot of that also comes to you. It's not just relying on that person, but it's what can you do to put them in the best situation possible.
That sounds like good management to me, which is trying to figure out who somebody is, giving them enough rope to move them into a position where they can succeed, supporting them into that role. And then if something needs to get tuned up, you just have a direct conversation. That's
I always, my mentality towards that is always take the blame. Never blame someone else. Never say it was their fault and that's why something didn't get done. It's you didn't put them in the position to be successful.
So you're telling me that you take responsibility for your management?
All of it.
So that goes back to when you were a kid, you didn't really want anybody telling you what to do. You're willing to take responsibility for your actions and for the people that you're working with.
Yeah.
Sounds to me like you're an entrepreneur, you're CEO, By the way, do you have any money at stake in this business?
Personally, my savings. But we had a small family and friends round with an angel investor.
So you've got everything you've got in this business, don't you?
Everything.
And you're willing to take responsibility that way.
Yeah.
And in spite of that, if you bring somebody into the team and they're not necessarily doing what you want, you're not going to scream and yell at them. You're saying, listen, what did I do wrong?
Absolutely.
Why is that?
I just think it's a general mentality towards life. I think some people tend to blame the outside world, and some people, blame is not the right word, but some people use that excuse to blame the outside world, and some people look at it internally, and I think the people that look at it internally are going to solve the problem much quicker.
What are you talking about? Tell me more.
I had a thought there and I lost it. That was a pretty good one too.
Do you complain a lot?
No, I don't. I don't believe it. If you're going to complain, you have to do something about it.
What are you talking about? What do you mean?
I don't understand the value of complaining. If you're going to complain, then make some action moves to solve whatever's annoying you.
Where'd you learn that from?
Life. You don't see the value in complaining. I never saw the value.
Mm-hmm. What's the best part of your day?
I love talking to customers. I'm relatively personable, so when I get especially an in-person meeting with a customer, I always say build rapport.
What's the website address of this organization?
Getgameplan.com, GETgameplan.com.
Getgameplan.com. We've been speaking with Josh Hoffman, the founder and CEO of Game Plan here on Executive Leaders Radio. Don't forget to visit our website, executiveleadersradio.com, to learn more about our executive leaders. We'll be back in a moment, right after this break.